Right, greetings, good evening, all that other wonderful stuff. So we're into chapter 6 of volume 3 of Into the Void, and we'll see whether or not I go straight into 4 or if I go into run. I haven't decided yet. I'll figure it out at the end of this, which we're not too far from the end of. So let's jump right in with chapter 6. Dizak takes a seat on Katie's couch, satisfied he's made it this far. Time travel might be known to his people, but it is always fraught with peril. If one calculation was slightly off, he could have wound up anywhere at any time. Now he has to talk to these ladies about the present they lived in so he could prevent his future from occurring. There are a few minutes of rather awkward silence before Talia opts to speak first. So you've come here to tell us that Geyer and Gora will do terrible things. Now I should start by letting you know that Geyer's dead, so your assertion already has some holes in it. Dizak nods. I'm aware that Geyer made it appear he was dead. I am also aware that Gora himself believed that to be the case when he saw Geyer die in the future, but Geyer is the master. His mastery of time is the reason for Altil's dominance in this war. But you're Altilian, Kelsey points out. This is true, but not all of my people believe that war is the way to go. After the heinous attack on Altil, any of my kind who went against the concept of a war against Voltaires were targeted as if we were treasonous and cowards. This was all part of their master plan. Now, there's a large problem here as well. Geyer knows how time travel works, but he doesn't understand its consequences. What consequences? Katie asks, still not certain she believes this creature is telling them the truth. Still, he is the most open and genuine of his kind she's ever met, and she'll humor him for now and stop her sister from splattering him against the clean walls. Okay, picture the universe as a large balloon. Now we know the universe is not shaped like a balloon from what we can see, but time travel creates holes in the timeline. It is a very dangerous thing to do that. It is a very dangerous thing to do, and I'm only here because Geyer's madness has to be stopped. Every time he's traveled back in time or forward, he's opened a hole in time. Dizak says in as simple a terms as he can find. So the universe kind of deflates? Sharias asks. Well, not exactly. The timeline's weakened with every move. Eventually, the holes in time will close in such a manner to destroy that timeline and anyone in it. Now, the past still moves into the future, but it's a new future, and anyone who's affected by the shift, if they're not meant to be there, well, they die, he explains. How do you know this? Talia asks as all four women lean in to hear the story. Dizak manages a half smile. There's so much talk among my people about prophecy, the idea of gods in the sky watching over us and deeming us as the rightful rulers of the universe. It's all garbage to me. I'd be killed on Eltel for saying that, you know. Now, the ancients who came up with prophecies really predicted some fantastic events in our history. They told us of Conley, Earth, and Falteres. They told us about famines and storms that came to pass on our world so everyone would be brainwashed by these writings. Now, where this gets dicey for those of us who want peace are the claims that Altil will ultimately rule the universe. It is ridiculous to pursue such a goal. There are so many other things we have to be concerned with, and ruling the universe is so brash and, well, stupid. Even with our superior military and our sheer numbers willing to fight, there's a finite amount that we can do against an entire universe. The scribe stated we were clean, and the rest of the universe was a dirty place. I disagree. But why come here and tell us this? Why not let the future implode and kill Geyer if he's there? Katie asks. Dizak looks Katie in the eyes. He's going to come back. He's going to try to kill your husband and then come back. Katie's blood runs cold. She feels Kelsey's hand on her arm and pulls away from her. I swear if you're lying. Then your sister can kill me over and over again, Dizak says quietly before looking his host in the eye. I'm here because we need to ensure that doesn't happen. They've taken the Vindicator into the future thanks to Gora double-crossing them. I can take you to them and bring us all home. If my plan works, then we'll leave both Gora and Geyer in the future right up until that timeline implodes on itself. It supernovas, and then we make a new future. I've seen this future, and it's terrible for your people. Earth's been ravaged for centuries by having to find external sources for its water and feed an increasingly unsustainable population. Altil choked off supplies of water from other worlds in their solar system, and then carried out precision attacks against targets on Earth while placating Falteres. But how does that mean death to your people? You win, Kelsey says, resisting the urge to draw her weapon. Her entire life she had been told about how evil Altilians are, and the concept of trusting one in her sister's home didn't sit well with her. Dizak manages a nervous smile and a short cough. It would appear we won, wouldn't it? My father's killed by Geyer for speaking his mind. My mother's taken by Geyer as his personal servant while I'm sent to work underground in spice mines for his enjoyment. I watch people die while mining materials that are plentiful on our planet, but Geyer wants raw materials from inside the planet cut to his liking. He calls them virgin minerals and won't take anything that had been previously manufactured or mined longer than 6 months earlier. He's a madman, a dictator, and doesn't respect anyone but himself. Gor isn't much better, Tully asks. Gor is a pawn in his game. Much like Sabal right now, he's a placeholder. He's only there to mind the store until the real owner gets back in. That owner's Geyer. We have to make our move before he has the chance to kill Mike and the others. Dizak then turns to Kelsey. I know you don't trust me. In your future, you end up spending your life in jail for killing an Altilian you believe is a spy. He isn't. I'm also not a spy. It must be so hard being on guard all the time like that. My people aren't all evil. That's what brings me here. But if Mike was taken into that time in the future as a trick, how do we know that you won't do the same to us? Katie asks. Dizak pauses, placing his hands in front of his mouth as he considers how he might prove himself to them. He expected pessimism when he came here and wasn't certain he'd even reach this point. So now he'd have to formulate some sort of trust right on the spot. I could leave all of you in charge of the ship, bring anyone you wish to, and then we could go from there. The four ladies turned to one another, seeking silent agreement on what to do from this point forward. Lives depended on their decisions, and, by Dizak's description, these were very important moments they were spending merely discussing what was to be done here. Katie turns her face to the visitor again. I don't have a problem with that. Mike always told me not to be hasty to judge. Now the problem as I see it is, if we head into the future and the timeline's near collapse, couldn't our trip cause the collapse? Dizak nods. This is unfortunately true. The universe has certain laws. These laws can be broken, but not without consequences. Anything in that timeline that shouldn't be here will die when everything collapses. Now the thing is, I believe I can make it collapse once we come back. I've been looking over mathematical models, and I believe I can cause that balloon to deflate quickly. Or you could send us into the future and then deflate it while leaving us there, Kelsey says. She then has all eyes trained on her, and her sister looks unhappy with her. Well, but he could, she says defensively. The girl's right, Kelsey. Would you feel better if you could shoot me anytime you wanted to? Dizak asks, showing a willingness to make a deal he knows his people aren't known for. Yeah, that's fine with me, Kelsey answers. So now what? Tully asks. Let's talk about the Guardian. Everyone goes silent. Dizak's either telling the truth or Altil knows all of their secrets. Next scene. The Guardian's a black warship that is cut from the same cloth as the Vindicator. It is equally as powerful and is piloted by Craig Hicks. Its existence is only known by a select few in their military and is a joint project between Falteres and Earth. The war has been trying to those stationed on the Guardian, as this ship has been placed in deep space for training missions which have gone on for months now. At the command of the ship was Tanya Decker, deemed capable as a result of her work within Division 1. She also had two men serving the role of first officer in Rob and Steve Webster, who have been assigned to the ship as of yesterday. The Guardian's shaping up to be a great ship in its own right, and she envies those on the Vindicator for already being sent into active duty. Though the Altilians had destroyed their own ship in the attack against Earth some time ago, there were remnants left behind, and working with engineers from Falteres, they were able to do some reverse engineering on Altilian parts. The shiny black color of the ship was the most outwardly noticeable change from the usual white or silver coating given to their ships. The paint actually served to absorb energy when fired upon as a backup to its strong shields that it already possessed. The ship was not very tall, but was wide with a boomerang shape to it. It was made to serve as a weapon against any invading force. Unlike the Vindicator, the ship was designed with the idea of serving as defense for Earth when the inevitable attack took place. The Guardian was radar invisible and capable of inflicting severe damage to multiple ships at a time, with all of its missile bays and laser weapons. It was always fully stocked with weapons, even though there was no intention of taking it to battle, not for a year yet. The waiting was the worst part for Tanya. She wanted to be a part of this war so badly. She wanted to help her world in its darkest hour, as she had before on Arcology 1237 and with its aftermath. The ship was capable of helping, but there was a fear that there could be flaws within its design that could only be shown through various battle and stress tests on a training basis. In Tanya's heart, she believed that her warship was ready for battle, and she just needed a chance to prove it. Craig stands from the navigation controls and rolls his eyes as he approaches her. So we're doing more tests today. That's what command wants. I know Mike wants to be careful with this ship. I know how much it means to the war effort, but I think it's ready to go. We just need a chance to prove it, she answers, tapping her nails against the arm of the chair. You're talking to the wrong guy. I wanted to fight months ago. I've tapped into one of their channels I'm not supposed to, and there's some weird crap going on out there, he says. Meaning what? Well, Mike was sent to check out the disappearance of John in E215. I'm pretty sure he went on the Vindicator. I don't know what happened after that, but there's a lot of nervous chatter going on. Tanya jumps up, but the Vindicator wasn't supposed to be completely active until next week. Why wouldn't he take the Peace Restorer? Craig laughs. Right, because I have the answer to those little issues. Like I said, things are going crazy out there. The thing I can't figure out is, long-range sensors don't show any unusual Altilian activity. Sending the Vindicator out when there's no attack imminent seems really weird to me. Mike's impulsive, but he's not stupid. If he's going to play our hand with what we have, and they don't, it has to be important. Maybe related to the attack on Altel? Rob offers, as he makes his way across the bridge towards the command chair. No one knows where that came from. We know Conley was wiped out. Earth is way behind in terms of technology, and Falteris wouldn't make such a bold move in light of recent peace efforts on behalf of the stupid people amongst them. Yeah, I want to get us in gear then, says Tanya. Set a course for Falteris. No problem, Craig says, as he heads to the navigation control and sets a course. But we're technically Earth's guardian ship, you know. That's the idea behind the name for the ship and all, Rob says. He then sees that his commander's glaring at him. Or, yeah, we could just go to Falteris and see what the heck's going on. I'm not going there to see what's going on. I want to ask one person who might know what's going on. If Mike's on a mission with the other ship, his wife is the best bet for knowing what he's doing and where he's headed. That's good, because she's hailing us, Steve Webster says from his communications post. Next scene. Talia is not happy with the decision she has to make here. As much as she wants to fight, as much as she wants to go to war, she knows she has to stay here on her world and ensure things don't get out of hand. If she was to be gone for an extended period of time, there could be a revolt against her government. She knew how on edge certain factions were, and she was concerned being a part of the war effort could unbalance her standing in the polls as well. Sharias has been forced to come to the same decision as her older sister. She knows that her followers would understand this even less than Talia's. As the leader of the more peace-loving side of the world, she has to remain at least neutral in their eyes, or she'd immediately be voted out of office through a recall election. They were a rarity, but they were very possible under these circumstances. She heads to her ship, looks back at the Altilian guard suspiciously before she starts to climb into the cockpit. Sharias is close behind when she hears a shot ring out. She looks towards the Altilian guard and sees him drop to the ground. Talia drops from the ladder on the side of the ship and rushes to the Altilian side, and then another shot rings out, and Talia falls to the ground in a heap. The only hope Sharias has is to hide. She wants to check on her sister, but she has to hide as the madman with the gun still out there. He appears to be using a sniper rifle, so he could be anywhere around here. He could even be in the trees somewhere, but Sharias knows she has to at least try hiding, and running back to Katie's house isn't an option, as that's far too wide open a space. Kelsey pops her head out the door, gun raised as she slowly looks around for the shooter. She motions to Sharias that she could get down, and continues her vocal search. Should get down and continues a visual search. An alarm sounds from inside the house, pressed by Katie herself before she's even had a chance to talk to the Guardian. Kelsey does her best not to be distracted by the alarm inside the house while she continues a visual search. This is where Kelsey's hunting as a child comes in handy. Her father taught her to hunt small wildlife at age 5. She knew what to look for and listen for with mammals and birds smaller than her hand. So all she needed was an adult human to make any kind of movement or sound, and she'd have him dead to rights. She may not be a member of the military, but she knows that she's a very good shot. Her hunting instincts are being put to the test as adrenaline pumps through her body, managed by her heart, which is thumping in her chest. Sharias lies down in a patch of leaves as a tear rolls down her cheek. She hasn't seen any motion from her sister. Deep down she knows what's happened here, and she feels responsible for not insisting that security personnel come with them and do a sweep of the area before they landed. There was irony in the fact that the Altilians had been visitors, and now it appeared a human had been the assassin. She wouldn't have believed anyone if they told her this was going to happen when she'd woken up this morning. Kelsey knows she has to be up against a pretty good shot too. Judging from the burn marks on the downed targets, He hit them both square in the heart, the Altilian from the front and Talia from the back. The gun fires high-energy plasma bursts, much like the Altilian guns, which cook the insides of their targets before they hit the ground. This gun only does this in a limited capacity, so Kelsey knows it's likely held by one of their own people. There is only silence as everyone waits for the gunman or gunwoman to make their next move. It is a sunny day and the shadows cast through the trees to the ground don't help Kelsey find the shadow of a person if they're above her. The gentle breeze isn't helping either, as her ability to detect motion by an attacker is hampered. Kelsey squints her eyes at a dark shape above her. There's a large tree at the edge of Katie's backyard which towers over the home. The branches reach out at least 100 feet, and they're quite strong, as Kelsey has found when she climbed the tree herself. She's been a fan of that tree ever since the Translos moved in here, though that feeling would be tempered now by a gunman having used it to take out Talia and the Altilian guard. She squeezes off a shot, not even certain she's aiming at a person. Her gun's equipped with a silencer, so the shot makes almost no noise, and the laser blast hits its mark. A man falls from the tree and 50 feet to the ground below. Kelsey rushes over where he landed, kicks him in the head. "Got you, you son of a," she says, and kicks him again. "It's clear," she calls out. "If he's alone, it's clear," Sharias calls out from the leaves nearby. Before Kelsey can answer that concern, a roar is heard from overhead, and 20 soldiers are dropped down on ropes into the trees. They quickly climb down and secure the area. Sharias slowly gets to her feet and meets Kelsey's, and her eyes meet Kelsey's. Kelsey turns from Sharias and looks down at the man who killed both Talia and the Altilian guard. She kneels next to him, sees that her shot hit him in the throat, and inspects his uniform, checking his pockets. "Yeah, this guy's one of ours," she says to Sharias. Sharias rushes to Kelsey's side to see what that means. Sure enough, the man is wearing a uniform sported by the rural volunteers in Falteris' army. This man was trained by the military to kill, and he had chosen to take out Talia Laris instead of wait for the call to take down the real enemy. This will cause chaos within their population once the word gets out. "I am so sorry," Kelsey says, placing her hand on Sharias' shoulder. Sharias hadn't been aware that she was crying. The tears hitting the ground and Kelsey's reassuring hand bring that fact to her attention. In a time where there's great concern for the safety of her world against outside forces, it was easy to take the threats already here for granted. For Sharias, her world had been turned upside down. Politics on this planet were about to get a lot more complicated, and divisions within the population would become more of an issue than ever before. Sharias makes her way to her sister, and there are already 2 soldiers, both doubling as medics for this mission, looking at her. "I am sorry, Miss Laris, there's nothing we can do for her," one says with genuine sadness. "I cannot imagine anyone wanting to take her life like this. This is so senseless." "This is a dark time for our people. I don't know what I will do," Sharias says, her head down and her will to carry on dwindling. Katie Translow finally emerges from her home, a tear running down her cheek as she walks over to Talia's spot. "Sharias, this will not go unpunished. You are respected amongst our people. You'll need to stand tall and tell people what happened here today. Tell them that brave people are trying to fix things and that our people are strong. We'll have a full service for Talia and for this Altilian guard both. We have to do the right thing." "That is very noble of you," Dizak says as he steps out of Katie's house, and every soldier trains their guns on him. He raises his hands and smiles nervously. "Oh my, I seem to have forgotten I'm an alien here. I'm not here to harm anyone." "Lower your weapons," Katie says to the soldiers. "He's not here to cause any harm to us." "Like Gora?" one soldier says as he keeps his weapon raised. "Word has it Mike Translow had to free Gora from his cell and take him along on some damn mission as blackmail. They're all the same." Katie stands up slowly and then steps back, standing between the soldier and Dizak. She's glad to see all the others have lowered their weapons as instructed. "Look, I know we have some serious prejudices to deal with. That includes me. I know Gora is a horrible creature, and so does Dizak here. He's here to help, and lives rest on his helping us in ways you can't imagine." The soldier stands with his gun now pointed at Katie, but his hands appear to be shaky. Kelsey takes a step towards him and starts to raise her gun, but Katie waves her off. "This war can't be fought on their terms," the soldier says, briefly looking in Kelsey's direction while keeping his gun aimed at Katie. "This is where war gets ugly, soldier. Talia was just killed by one of our own. It was an attack by one of our soldiers, and it hit one of their soldiers who was only here to assist Dizak. There aren't good guys and bad guys here, not right now. Just fallible creatures involved in a war that will get more muddled as days and weeks go by. I support the war effort, but we have to keep our heads on straight, or we lose. If you kill me, we lose. If you kill Dizak, we lose. We're on the same side, soldier, she says, pleading with him to the best of her ability while her body tries to reject her brain's insistence on staying in the line of fire. The man slowly lowers his gun. A man like the one you're protecting, one of those monsters, killed my father a month ago. It was a raid on a simple cargo vessel. They claimed it was a vessel carrying illegal weapons from Altair. Usual crap they make up. They lie, ma'am, and they lie often. They don't have exclusive claims on lies, Shariah says as she looks back at her own soldier, the one who took her sister's life. My soldier killed Talia. A man who swore to defend our world with his life instead took the life of its leader to further his own political agenda. He would have killed me, too. Katie's right. This war is ugly now, and it's only going to get worse. Finish your sweep of the area, and then we'll return to Jarnan, where I will tell our people what has happened here today and who is responsible. The soldier nods and turns away. He looks dejected, while he and the others comb the nearby forest for any allies to the dead gunman. They have infrared equipment and anything else they need to bring anyone out of hiding that they may need to. Are you going to be okay? Katie asks, feeling foolish to even ask such a question to a woman who just lost her sister. Shariah nods, taking Talia's still warm hand in her own. I have to do the right thing here, Katie. Talia wanted the war to continue and to be strong. I will have to embody that now. You do what you have to. Stop Geyer before he gets his way and destroys the past as well as the future. The madness has to end. Will it ever end? Kelsey asks as she stands next to her sister. Dizak is left alone to make his way to the Altilian that perished this day. He kneels next to his friend and compatriot. I will ensure that your death was not in vain, my friend. May you rest in peace and know that you died on the right side. He then looks Katie in the eyes. Let us go to the Guardian. I didn't talk to them yet, Katie says. You don't need to. You're Katie Translow. They'll still want you at their sides. Trust me. Dizak says as he gets back to his feet and bows slightly to her. It is an honor to be alongside you. No Altilian would have blocked that gunman from firing at a human. I am forever in your debt. So there we go. That's the end of the book. So the funny thing with that was when I made the decision to have Talia get shot, it was because I thought, I can't just have her take off. There has to be some big moment in here. And I was like, oh, well, that's one way to make Shariah the leader. Because originally when I wrote the books, Shariah was a leader pretty much right out of the gate. She took over for Dradgeton running that planet. So when I had Shariah in there as Talia's sister, I knew Shariah would take over. I just didn't know how until I wrote that scene. And I'm like, well, that's one way to do it, I guess. It's not a fun way to do it. I kind of felt bad. I felt bad about killing off the character, but I was going to feel a lot worse because a lot of characters are about to be dispersed amongst the universe. So, yeah, it gets kind of ugly from here. Anyways, there you go. Into the Void Volume 3. And we're getting closer and closer to the end. How many pages are left? On page 287. And there's 342 pages. So 42, 13, 55 pages left. So we'll get there. We'll get her done. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there. My wife's feeling great. Everything's going great for her. Just fantastic. Never felt healthier and stronger and more vibrant and alive. And, it's a rewarding life that we have with children who always do as they're told. And our neighbors aren't obnoxious with the noise of a weed whacker for 2 hours.
Lawn.
The
there
whole
has
lawn,
to be something wrong with
the whole lawn for 2 hours. Like, oh my god, no!
So loud.
It's right next to my window. Anyways,
it sounds like a chainsaw.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's really, really loud.
So loud.
It is really loud. I was like, seriously. So I was lucky to get that one hockey video done that I did before it got started, and then I was just setting up the board for tomorrow's series in the classic series. So while other hockey YouTubers are probably talking about, hey, here's what's coming up, I'm like, hey, remember the 80s? So that's just sort of my thing. And I don't want to run out of things to talk about with the upcoming
You still have
in
a lot of
August.
time.
It's in August.
Lot of time.
They're saying August 15th might be the start date for the
Wow.
yeah. So that's like 2.5
Oh my
months.
gosh.
It's 2.5
Yeah,
months.
you don't want to do all your previews and stuff now because then you wouldn't be able to do it again.
And then what if everything changes?
Right.
So yeah, I as much as I would love to do preview stuff because I love doing preview stuff, I can't. I just can't.
Right.
It's too far out. So and then what if we get it all done and then it gets canceled or something else gets changed or something happens? So
Then everybody be sad.
Well,
Aw.
yeah, there's
We thought there was hockey, but
hopefully that doesn't happen. But between now and then, I will be here to continue the books and the reading and all that other fun stuff. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I don't have to ask you to hit like and subscribe because it'd be weird if this was a video you're watching when you're not subscribed. So thank you guys so much for your time and your attention on this well, it's sunny Thursday here anyways.
well, it
And,
wasn't that sunny. It's pretty cloudy, but it was warm.
It's
out.
warm upstairs.
I know it
warm
is
right now.
because they keep shutting the windows. I had the living room windows open and they shut them. I don't know why.
Probably because of the
It's
chainsaw
nice
sounding
out. Yeah.
next door. So, all right. Thanks again for everything. I will talk to you guys again soon.